Hi, my name is Pernilla Lilla Rose from Be Kind to Yourself, Listen to Your Heart. There's something that's always been very close and deep in my heart, and that is to bridge the spiritual and the human. Many teachings focus only on one or the other. And for many people, maybe for you too, it seems like your spiritual life is separate from your human life. You may have nice experiences, you may have some good insights, and you may be doing well in many areas of your life, or not. But in order to bridge the two, we have to bring them together. And that's been one of my big passions in life. Rumi says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And that is what most of us have done for a long, long time, for a whole lifetime. And we need to start first seeking and then finding these barriers that we have built against what we are in our essence, in our truth, love. So I would like to use a little metaphor of imagining that everything is water. This is the water metaphor that I like to use to explain how there is not a spiritual life or a human life, but it is actually the same thing. And I have found that bringing them together as and with our own essence, then there is no division anymore. Now, I'm imagining that you are somebody who would like to live as oneness without division within yourself. So here is the metaphor about water. Imagine that everything is water. There is nothing other than water, H2O. During our childhood or sometime in our lifetime, we have an experience where we have some trauma or some pain or some fear that we do not know how to process, how to be with, or how to transform. So it freezes, it turns into a frozen area in our experience. And if we stay with the water metaphor, it turns into a frozen wave. It's like it takes shape as a frozenness, as a shape that is not fluid anymore, just like water would be. If we remained as water, as fluid, as flowing, there would not be anything in there that had become stagnant and painful. So we all carry these frozen waves with us. And what we tend to do with them is try and get rid of them, or we resist them. We don't want them. And what happens is that the frozen wave becomes even more rigid by our resistance to it. At the same time, this water also has a movement. Every water has a current, whether it's a creek or an ocean. There is always a movement, a natural movement of the water itself. And when we get frozen sometime in our life, you can see that the naturalness of the movement or of the current gets stagnated. And we lose touch with our natural movement as the expression of water. Now, we have frozen waves in our experience, but remember, they're still water. Even though part of the water has gotten really cold and seems like it's frozen and stagnant, it's still made of H2O, water. So the wave in itself is perfect. It's still made of water. It doesn't need to change. but it needs to just soften into its natural state, which is fluid, movement, buoyant. And since there is only water and nothing else but water, we need water to soften these waves, to defrost them. And what better use of water as warm water to defrost these waves? So you see, we keep using everything that we already are to become more in our experience of who we are in a more moving way, in a more expansive way, not in a contracted, solid wave experience, but in a moving way where there is fulfillment and joy and fun and love. So when we get in touch with our warm water, then these frozen waves will start to defrost or melt back into what it already is, just in a different expression. So bringing warm water to our frozen waves, the best way to do that is by bringing love and kindness to the parts in ourselves that are hurting, that are painful, that we want to get rid of. So instead of trying to push it away, we actually move towards it with love, with kindness, with openness, to give these waves an opportunity to soften and to defrost. And then we're back into the naturalness of the water and can start getting in touch with our specific current as our expression of life. I hope this metaphor touches something in you so you start understanding that it's not separate. It's not like our humanhood is not separate from our spirituality. It's all water, or it's all love. But we need to bring the water, the warm water, to the frozen wave, or we need to bring love to the parts of us that we're trying to get rid of in order for it to melt back into itself. You see, one of my teachers, Adyashanti, in the past used to say, love comes back for all of itself. So let's imagine that there's these frozen parts in us, but the water will never leave those frozen parts. It cannot be separate from it, but it needs to come back to itself in a much higher vibration, which is love. Fear is a low vibration. Love is a high vibration, but it's still all energy. It's still all vibration. It's just bringing something to it that helps it melt back into itself so it can flow more in the way that you actually want it to in your own experience. So to come back to Rumi, your task is not to seek for love, but to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it, right? We don't go out seeking for water. We just find out how we have become frozen, which seems like the barriers to actually realize that we are the love. And that's why I like to be the bridge in bringing these two together, so you can start experiencing that you are the love that you are looking for. And you are the love that can heal the areas in yourself that have turned away from love, that have built barriers against love. So before I end today, let's just take a moment and just sense into your body right now to see where have you built a barrier against what you really are, who you really are. And you will experience that as some kind of a contraction, some pain, some discomfort. And just to give you a tiny experience how you can be different. is instead of trying to get rid of this discomfort, let's just take a breath, a conscious, loving breath into this area. Let's do one more. And just notice if anything changed by just two little simple breaths filled with love and willingness to merge the dual parts, the two that seem to be separate, back into one. Thank you very much. If any of this resonates with you, and if you would like to know some more about what I offer, please put your name and email address in the box on this page, and you will start receiving emails from me once in a while. I have a little series that I've prepared for you to give you a few more experiences of this same softening, bringing love to the unloved parts in us, so you can start getting a sense of what it is that's possible. So please put your name and your email here, and you will receive a few more emails from me with a few more experiences that you can make use of right away in your own life to help soften your ways. Thank you so much, and I wish you a beautiful, fluid day.